Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to an unboxing for Zombicide 2nd Edition Reboot Box. So what is the Reboot Box exactly? This is the Kickstarter exclusive content. So all of the extra ton of survivors we're going to get, the daily zombies, the walkers, the special walkers, the new abominations, the brutes, the runners, all that fun stuff, plus some other additional content, which we'll kind of do a quick brief over here. And then the first part of this video, I will go over all the different zombies and what they do. They'll have some different special skills that we can apply to the game if we like. And then there'll be multiple other parts of the video. I won't say how many right now because we'll kind of see how long each one gets. But there will be some going over the different new survivors, maybe 1 to 2 videos for that. It might break that in half. And then some more going over some of the other cards. So what's all in this box, in case you're curious of picking it up? Like, is it worth the money? Worth the money, that's really up to you. If you like more survivors, you want a lot more survivors, awesome. There are 39 brand new survivors in here. And like usually pretty much all of the Zombicide Kickstarter stuff, generally all of them, are homages to various celebrities or famous people, actors, actresses, musicians, things like that. So it's kind of fun to go over and just see who everyone is. There are also 19 walkers, 6, they list them as fatties on here. That term has been now changed to brutes for the general bigger guys, and 6 runners and 9 brand new abominations. So there's, a decent number of extra zombies as well. And they're all different sculpts, I believe. So there's not any duplicates in this set, which is a good and bad thing. I kind of wish that at least some of the walkers and maybe the runners had some duplicates, because some of the guys you can definitely see there being more than one version of them. But that's all right, and there's quite a bit. The other things in here we have is 39 ID cards, so that's for the brand new 39 characters. The additional 124 survivor upgrade kits. What these are, let's do this quick. We'll look at this. So we have a tray of zombies, which we will be going over. So pull everyone up. We'll see what they all look like. Find out what their abilities are. We have a tray of survivors. Again, we'll do the same thing for one of the previous videos. The later videos. I can't do a previous video. A couple more of the abominations in this small pack. Then we have the brand new ID cards for all the new characters. So we're going to go through all of them, and we'll read off what all the abilities are. So if you're not familiar, that's how I'll do it from the later videos. I will show off Doria here. I will read off all her abilities, and we'll see, kind of talk about what she can do. The 124 upgraded kits. So that's all of these cards here. This is all of the characters from Classic or First Edition Zombicide. This includes all of the base games, the Core 1, Rumor, Prison Outbreak, Angry Neighbors, Toxic City Mall. Includes all the special guest spots, all the box of, so we have like Lost Survivors, Box of Survivors and Zombivers, game night boxes. It includes every single Kickstarter character in there as well. So every single character from those released for First Edition Classic Zombicide has a card in here. Now, they do have, just to state this, so like half of this about, I want to say, get to, I think, this point right here. So, just to also go quick, and I'll bring this back up when you get this first bunch here, which is about, I think, 70 cards of it, the bigger half. This is all retail stuff. This is stuff like you could go pick up, get in retail. They do sell an actual upgrade kit that has these like 70 cards in there. I think it's 70. I might not be the number. It's 70 something. Yeah, anything that hit retail that someone could go pick up now or could have picked up like later on as a retail thing. Because obviously they're probably not reprinting those anymore. these were all available in just a regular upgrade kit. This other smaller stack here is the 100% Kickstarter exclusive cards. So if you own Kickstarter exclusive cards or characters, this is definitely a reason to have them. So you can bring them all to 2nd edition because they have the new little small cards that work for them. Sometimes you'll find some of these characters in little tiny boxes with just 2 miniatures, but no card at all. So you can't even play them using the old school ones. So we'll go over those later on. The other things in here is we're also going to get 6 or 18 pimp weapons and 8 abomination cards. I should learn how to read. So our 8 abomination cards will go towards our 8 abominations. And we have a brand new set of higher grade pimp card weapons, which we will go over as well. So that's what you are getting in the box. A lot of zombies, a lot of characters, survivors, upgrades for previous sets, which is really fun. That's could be even part of the reason to buy this box, is nothing else. If you have all of Zombicide stuff from the previous season, from Classic Edition, you might want to pick this up just so that you can use all of them in 2nd edition. If you're trying to get 2nd edition, that might be worth the money for you, making all them guys playable. You can probably go online, download images of probably all the cards and print off your own if you truly like, or use your regular cards and play it the old style if you already have all of them. So it's definitely a way, but if you're picking stuff secondhand like I am, or in the thing, again, they have some of the characters that come in just single boxes. It's like about that big and has only like 2 characters in it, but they have no cards. They don't have the big dashboard from season 1. They don't have anything. It's definitely a great way to pick them up. All right, so let's look at our zombies. So we did get this rule book that came with. In the rule book, basically all it's going to go through, because there's not really any brand new rules, it's just going to mention brand new pimp weapons. So each pimp weapon includes a set that comes with 2 copies, a standard and advanced one. One is used for normal games, and the other is used for campaign modes, featuring the keep out and all out values. And there's a new skill for Danny Trejo cards, which is also another little set they made, and one of the abilities work with that. Then what we have are rules for all the different abominations, and we just don't skip a page in here. Daily zombie spawn house rules. Says, note, these house rules are made just for fun. We're not tested or balanced. You can use these suggestions or come up with your own house rules for each zombie. This is something they started doing. They started making, instead of just adding additional extra, like, hey, here's 2 more different sculpts to the walkers. Here's 2 more different, runners. Here's 2 more different brutes. They started making fun different sculpts for the characters, but they only made like 1 or 2 of each. But they also gave them extra little rules you could use with each one, just to make them a little bit more fun. So we will be going through all of these. But again, these can be used at your own volition, I guess. If you decide to use them, use them. If you decide you don't like them, don't use them. It's 100% up to you. All right. So let's hop in and see what we have here. So we're going to start with our first zombie here. I'm going to see if I can get my camera to just zoom up on them so I don't have to keep holding them, but it might not work. It might not focus well enough. All right, let's see if we can get that to focus. If not, I'll just hold them. Yeah, it doesn't want to focus just right. All right, anywho, well, let me pause for a second. Alright, so first up we have the ballerina. The ballerina has an ability. It says, if she activates 2 zones away from a survivor, she jumps right at them by moving 2 zones. Likewise, she may ignore obstacles such as tanks and sandbags. So she gets the jump ability, which is kind of interesting. It's her ribbons on her feet. It's very detailed. I love the little details on there. And so we'll kind of hold up her ability there quick just so you can read it if that helps. Alright, up next we have the bride. It's like you can see where some of these would make sense to have multiple. You can see multiple ballerinas out doing stuff, but you probably wouldn't see multiple brides. But there she's holding her bouquet, she says. And there's a little flavor text that says, when spawning, the bride spawns an additional walker with her. So that's kind of fun. She gets an extra spawn with her. So now there's no extra spawn cards with these. So traditionally how you would probably do these is you just draw them from your box. If you pull out that character, they have an additional ability. I know some people have used a thing where they've made special zombie cards that you could use, especially if you have opaque backs on your sleeves. You sleeve your cards with opaque backs. You could then add like your own special zombie card. You do it, then you draw one from a pile, much like you do the Abominations. And that would actually be a neat thing to do if they just included like a dozen or so special zombie cards you could use. Because then you could be like, oh, I drew a special zombie card. You pick one from the pile and you get that instead. Or even if they had it like the shooter cards would have been kind of cool, where it's a regular spawn card, but maybe instead some of them occasionally have that symbol. Alright, so here's a butler. It says you may eliminate the butler, or it says when you eliminate the butler, you may look at the top card of the zombie deck and decide whether to put it back on the deck or discard it. So you get some options. It's kind of like still serving you. In the future, he's lost his arm. So it's really hard to tell that he's a butler. Like it would have been neat, I guess, if he's holding like a tray or something, but then maybe we would have thought he was a waiter. Alright, then we have the crazy cat lady. We can go with our base game character cardboard sign. Any dogs with a line of sight on the cat lady getting extra activation for their current activation. Yeah, so that's kind of funny, just because you can play with that role if you're playing with one of the dogs expansions. They get an extra activation. I would also then house rule that, because these are all basically house rule games, rules anyhow. I would add that to the dog companions. If you have a dog companion, they can get a free action if they see her. Her other main ability, though, is actually whenever she attacks, every survivor in her zone suffers one wound. So when she attacks, all her cats attack with her. Yeah, so she can be pretty nasty as just a walker. Alright, then we have the cheerleader. Give me a Z. And go with our sports team we're always setting up. We have football player zombies as well. All actors, both zombies and survivor in her zone, get an extra action for their current activation. Yeah, so in their zone, she cheers everyone on and they get to attack more. Definitely fun. Again, like that, kind of like the ballerina, I could see having multiples of those. Just because that way you could be like, hey, we broke into a football game, we're going to get attacked by zombie crews. Even if you're not using their special abilities, it'd been fun to have more of them. We have Coffin Joe. This is funny, it's at the bottom, you can see his feet are breaking through the coffin so he can shamble along. But it definitely makes sense. Some of the undead would just pop out of coffins. In order to eliminate him, a survivor must spend 2 hits with 1 damage or more on him at the same time. So you have to spend 2 hits doing 1 damage. Not 2 damage, not 3 damage, but you have to hit him multiple times. So if you roll the die and you get 2 hits, you can spend both of them to take him out. So basically you have to break through his coffin and himself at the same time. Up next we have the executive. Carrying all our documents there. She gets, when you eliminate the executive, you may draw the top 3 cards of the zombie deck. Look at them, put them back on top of the deck in any order you wish. So kind of like the butler, but you get to look at more cards, but they all have to go back on the top. Or the butler will at least allow you to put them back on the bottom. So you would have options to like maybe skip stuff. Alright, up next we have the flight attendant. Getting ready to board. Put your seatbelt on. Whenever she hits a survivor, they must discard the largest item they have in their hand. Is there a safety instruction card for dealing with zombies? So the will references. Players may freely discuss and decide which one fits the criteria, as it should have been stored in the overhead compartment. So that's the thought or gimmick behind that. It's like, hey, if you're on an airplane, you can't carry large items with you. Just makes you discard your largest item. Now you can debate if that's physically the largest item, like a chainsaw is bigger than a pistol, or if it's your most powerful weapon. Like you might have a Glock 9 weapon that is more powerful than your baseball bat, but I would argue a baseball bat is physically bigger. So, there you can kind of argue amongst yourselves. Alright, then we have the judge. He's got his one arm and his gavel. Plus he's got like the powdered wig, which is really fun. Ignore when targeting priority when performing a ranged attack in your zone, targeting whichever zombie you prefer. He's deeming everyone is equal, so he doesn't care. Just attack whoever. Kind of fun. Makes some of these guys have really negative effects, some have kind of positive effects. Which makes them a little bit more fun. And we just threw this guy. This is the lawnmower man. So he's kind of looking over his shoulder here. But he's got a gas-powered weed whacker. It says whenever he enters the zone of survivor, he instantly deals 1 wound to them. So he just weed whacks as soon as he walks in. Then we have a really cool looking one, the Lion Dancer. And there's the other guy falling out the butt, because there's usually 2 of them. I like that this came out, and then this worked really well with the newer Rio set. The Lion Dancer says, any survivor in a line of sight with Lion Dancer gains the lucky skill of being able to reroll attacks. So he's got kind of a bonus. It's also interesting having some of these guys with like weird bonuses like that, because then it's almost like, okay, we don't want to kill that one zombie because he still helps us, but he's still going to attack and try and kill us. So you maybe shoot around him or attack around him and just ignore him a bit, but you have to worry then he might come back and sneak attack you later. We have the Lunch Lady. She's got her big giant spoon there. If she's ever alone, immediately spawn 1 runner in her zone. She's going to attract a runner to come help her. So again, this should be the exact opposite. You wouldn't want to leave her by herself, otherwise you have more trouble to deal with. We have a magician. Who has... what's that hanging off the side of his head? That is the rabbit falling out of his hat. Let's see if I can get that to focus a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, there's a rabbit falling out of his hat. That's kind of funny. Whenever you eliminate him, you get a chance to draw something from his hat. So draw a card from the equipment deck. Hey, it may even be a zombie. That's kind of fun. Get a free draw out of him. Alright, then we have the nun. The zombie nun. Whenever you eliminate the nun, instead of gaining 1 AP, you lose 1 AP. It needs to be done. We can only hope the zombie apocalypse will meet its end someday. So, you lose points for killing a nun, which kind of makes sense. Unholy, killing a religious person, I guess. Again, just kind of makes the game a little bit more interesting. Up next, we have this crazy looking sculpt. This is the one-man band. Yeah, some of these are just so insanely detailed, right? So he says, whatever space he occupies becomes the noisiest one for other zombies. He still follows the noisiest zone on the board, though. So he'll go after whoever else is noisy, but everyone else will come towards him. So he becomes sort of a hindrance. To an extent, he becomes a hindrance to the other zombies. But on the other hand, if he starts getting close to you, every zombie is going to always come towards him. So then he's going to pull everyone towards him. Regardless if you're maybe trying to do something else. If he spawns on the opposite side of the board where you're trying to go, all the zombies are going to immediately come towards him, even if before they would have went a different direction. Then we have the postman. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Whenever you spawn the postman, draw an equipment card and assign it to him. If it's an stock card, discard it and draw a new one. The survivor who kills the postman immediately gets the card. So that's kind of cool. Basically, he carries the delivery of one item with him. Then now you don't have access to until you kill him. Gives you one of them reasons to get rid of him. We have the Ring Fair Man, Renaissance Festival. He ignores all damage from attacks unless they come from a weapon that could exist in medieval times. So they say, like, swords, axes are fair game. Of course, feel free to make your case as to why your weapon is technically period appropriate. Yeah, so that's kind of interesting. So basically he's saying, like, he won't take damage from guns because guns didn't exist. Makes the game a little bit more challenging. These are also rules you could just apply in general to all your zombies if you ever wanted to make the game harder. Apply some of these rules to a bunch of different zombies or a group of them. Like the postman, you could give it to like a bunch of characters. They all grab stuff and they all carry items with them if they're in a building. So that way you have to defeat the zombies instead of just running away from them. Same thing with like the cheerleader giving people extra actions, or the lion giving someone lucky. You can always even like make up your own cards and give everyone different abilities like that. So lots of different ideas for house rules. Here we have the swimmer. He's wearing his little rubber ducky floaty and his arm floaties. He says his presence doesn't require survivors to spend extra actions to leave his zone. Says it's slippery and encumbered by the floats. He's very easy to escape. So that's interesting. I would also maybe even house rule with him is if you're playing with the Rio sets that have water, is that he doesn't care about leaving the water. Every other one's that always immediately flee the water areas. Yeah, he can go ahead and sit in there if he wants. That's cool. Then the last walker we have that's a special one is the waitress. You can sit in one of the many restaurants we have. Her thing is when sharing a zone with a survivor, the waitress gains an extra activation. So she'll try and help you out by eating you, of course. So there's all our different walkers. Alright, we're going to head in and take a look at the runners and brutes. Alright, now we're going to look at the special runners. So we're going to start with the bullfighter. Wait, are there zombie bulls? Yes, if you go pick up Undead or Alive, the Western game, you can have this guy fight Western bull abominations. It's actually really fun because he got his like cape there. But you also notice there's a bullhorn stuck through his knee, which is pretty crazy that they did that. So it's the bullfighter or matador's ability. Landing a hit on him is extremely difficult, as only a die roll of 6 against him is able to score a successful hit. Not only is he gonna move fast to try and catch you, he's also going to dodge your attacks. I just noticed he has his sword, or the end of his whip, maybe. Could be a little bit of both. Tucked into his cape there. But yeah, he's gonna be hard to kill. Especially if they're running, that's gonna suck. Alright, up next we have, of course, we're gonna have a runner. You should have an Olympic runner. He's got his gold medal there. His shirt's kind of tattered in the wing. And he has, why couldn't it be the bronze medalist? Olympic runner benefits from the zombie rush rule. It performs an activation right after being spawned. So as soon as he spawns, he gets to go right away. Pretty crazy. Then we have the pizza delivery boy, who's going to fight the Ninja Turtles. There's his pizza boxes open, which is kind of fun with his hand. He's still holding it. His guts, though, are hanging out, though, which is kind of interesting. So he has, if you eliminate him, grab a slice and gain 3 additional AP. Yummy. So you're still going to eat this pizza the zombies running around with. We have a quarterback to go with our cheerleader. Now, I always love the runners because they did a good job of making sure you can tell that they're runners. Yes, they have a different color to help that way, but just the fact that they're always in a very, very motion. The pizza boy can maybe argue a little bit, but the other guys are really in motion. It says when entering a zone, he immediately tackles every survivor with powerful impact that will cost them 1 additional action to get up. So it says wise players would think of shooting him before they even happens, but keep this in mind. Due to the heavy protective gear, it takes 2 damage to kill him. So he takes an extra 2 damage because he's padded. But then he also knocks everybody down when he gets into the area. So they have to spend an action to even get back up. Alright, then we have the robber. This guy has a bunch of weapons tied to him. It's like he's trying to flee the crime. His face is breaking out through his mask. For each wound the robber deals to a survivor, they must discard one of their equipment cards. So yeah, definitely don't want to fight him. Then our last runner is the skateboarder. His headphones on, jacket. Nice we also get another female character in here. Even if they're zombies. The skateboarder moves 2 spaces during the first move she makes each activation. She just moved 2 spaces. I would treat it the same way as like other characters that have multiple move spaces, like crows or wolves. Is you pick where they're gonna go. They have to move 2 spaces in a straight line. They can't deviate around corners for those 2 spaces because it's not her moving 2 spaces, it's her rolling on her skateboard. You could argue that she could turn her skateboard pretty quick, but I could also argue a wolf could probably, or like a bird or something, crow or whatever, could probably turn spaces as well. So I'd say she has to go 2 straight spaces, then she can make changes after that. Alright, then we have, now again, they list them as the fatties yet during this time period, but now we refer to them as brutes. Or if you're like some people, like my wife and stuff, when we play 7 days and we get the big giant characters, we call them tourists. Because that's what some of them look like. So this is the goth chick. So she got all this. Again, some of the pictures look a little bit nicer than the, help you like definitely define what the characters look like. I wish I could get all these painted for that reason, but she has. Whenever an actor is killed in her zone, she immediately gains an extra activation. So if she takes someone out, she loves death. She gets to go again. Then, of course, we got the luchador, who's all either gross and bubbly. That would have been a thing. If they just made them, like, large zombies, I would have been fine with it. I think my issue is that they also then made them all kind of, like, someone else referred to them as bloated. If they had just called them the bloated or something, maybe. So I like now they started doing brutes where it's not always necessarily just a big, giant, large person. Like fat person, I should say. It could also be just someone with a giant bulk or mass, but not quite abomination level. But here's the luchador. It says, when leaving his zone, cost survivors an additional action on top of normal ones. So he's just harder to escape because he'll just grab you. Then we have the sportsman. So he's drinking beer and drinking beer and eating nacho chips. We threw him on the ground. There's his backside. He's got his number 1 finger, his drink hat on, and he has is so distracting that survivors within a range of 0 to 1 of the sportsman have the accuracy level of their weapons increased by 1 to a maximum of 6. So yeah, he's being so loud and obnoxious that it is harder to hit things. Nice. So that's very interesting. Alright, then go with our luchador. We have a sumo wrestler. Now again, this would have been a reason why I would have loved 2 of them. Because you could have, like, sportsman would have been kind of neat. You'd be able to buy a pack. So you could have 2 or 3 of them. Same with sumo wrestlers. Would have been neat to have 2 because you could have them, like, competing somewhere. You could have them summon together. Always as 2 together, like they would be competing. A sumo wrestler has survivors simply cannot enter the sumo wrestler zone. He's too big and he will push you right out. So you can't melee attack him from the same zone. We have the unicorn girl. Dressed up as a unicorn. I would have, if I would have gotten multiples of these and I was painting them, I would paint them all different colors. Because that would be interesting too. When When you eliminate Unicorn Girl, you get to choose any skill you want and redeem any skill and gain it till the end of your next turn. So that's actually fun, kind of a magical ability. You can see that being utilized. And then our final one is the Welder. So when the Welder is killed by a roll of 6, his propane tank is hit and creates a devastating Molotov affecting its zone. If he is killed by a lower roll, the survivor may take the figure and keep it. If their weapon would break through an all-out roll, they may discard the Welder instead of the weapon card. So it's kind of interesting. The second half is sort of weird, though. I would have liked better if it was, you could then use them as a, like, discard them later and treat them as basically you have an extra Molotov. But it's also you can use it for the breakout weapons. Very interesting. Alright, so that was all of our runners and our brutes. We're going to hop in, we're going to look at the abominations, and that'll be the last thing we do for part 1 of this video. So 1 sec. Alright, then we have the abominations. So the abominations will have, in the book, a little bit better descriptions on how their abilities work. Otherwise, they have their activation cards. So when you draw them in the game, you'll easily see what they kind of do. So we'll look at each one here. We're going to start with the Cannibal Zombie. So there's just this guy, regular guy that's running around. He's an actual cannibal. So he's like, hey, everyone else is eating human flesh. Why don't I? Because you're not dead, sir. That's why. So we have him. He has roll 1 die. Let's stack this guy up here. I jig him into the frame a little bit. Roll 3 dice upon elimination. On a 1, place the actual zombie on the starting spawn zone. AP is still earned. Yeah, so whenever you kill him, if you roll a 1 at all, he stays around. So he keeps coming back over and over again until you can either kill him or not roll a 1. Oh, it's, it's not super common you're going to hit that, but it does make that kind of an interesting ability. Alright, up next we have the Bat Abomination. Go with one of our nice animal themes. So there's this terrifying monstrosity. So he kind of loses his bat wings, kind of looks, people say sort of like Man-Bat from the Batman series, except again, he doesn't have wings. It's kind of like a big giant hulking zombie with a bat face. It says, cannot trace lines of sight on each of its activates. Cannot trace lines of sight because it's blind. On each of its activations, has as many actions as the number of noise tokens in the noisiest zone. Maybe 0. Survivors don't count. Yeah, so whenever someone makes noise tokens, he's gonna go ahead and go towards that zone. So he doesn't count survivors just existing, but he's counting like if you're breaking down doors or doing other stuff. Just kind of an interesting character as well. Now, unlike the daily spawn zombies, which are house rules you could kind of use or not, either you just use them all as regular walkers with different artwork in case you don't want to. These guys have more specific rules. It says if there are no noise tokens on the board, Bat Abomination has 0 actions. So that's kind of interesting. So he gets a little bit of different stuff based on that. Alright, up next we have the Bear Man Boar. Which always reminds me of the Man-Bear Pig from South Park. So there's this guy, he's kind of like man legs, but he's got like 1 human arm, half a bear arm, like a half a pig face. Little piggy tail. Yeah, definitely something that is of your nightmares. It says, Man-Boar Pig spawns even if another abomination is on the board, but they don't get an extra activation. Bear Man-Boar cannot be eliminated as long as another abomination is on the board. So he's going to have extra guys coming out, and he's going to be hard to take out. Now, if you're playing some harder level game where you can have multiple abominations anyhow, he's still going to be hard because you can't eliminate him until you eliminate everybody else. You have to just avoid him in case, like, if he's on the board and another guy spawns behind him, you know, and they have two guys on the board, or he's on the opposite side, you can't touch him until he get rid of the other guy. So it's very interesting. All right, up next we have the elusive Bigfoot. Just funny because I also did another set that has some of the more cryptic creatures that you can get for Abomination for 2nd edition. So Bigfoot would fit right in with that set. In case you ever one of those people that don't want to play with every Abomination, you want to pick and choose. Because you have like the sewer alligator and the chupacabra. So he would work well with that set of Abominations. The Bigfoot doesn't spawn if a survivor has line of sight on its spawning zone. Shuffle it back into the deck. Don't draw another. That's just kind of funny. So if you're looking to where he's going to appear, he doesn't appear. So you can't be like hunting him down. So it's kind of interesting. Other than he comes out, he's just a regular Abomination, doesn't do anything special. But that's fun. Not everyone, I think, has to have super weird, difficult, or rules or whatever. Someone just be like, it does this thing, or when you eliminate it, or when it comes into play, it does something. Otherwise, it just plays like a regular guy. Alright, up next, we have the Black Dog. Although people I know said they wish this guy looked more scary, he kind of just looks like a regular dog or one of the wolf tokens. He looks bigger than one of the wolf tokens, I guess, but not, or dog tokens, but kind of like a wolf from, like fantasy. But yeah, he's, you know, wish he's a little bit bigger or scarier. So as long as the Black Dog is on the board, survivors are eliminated upon receiving any amount of wounds. Wounds previously received are not affected. So that Omni makes this guy the target. If you don't take him out, everyone's just going to start dying. Now, I don't know if there's a lore behind this on why that is. I wish that was more of an ability like this. I wish it was more of something that didn't have an attack ability, because then you wouldn't have to worry about him attacking you. Or it was like a boss level character. Something that's like a dog that has the ability to like make everyone die after they take any wounds. Seems like it should look like a bigger threat. Like this guy. We have Cthulhu, the old elder god himself. So he has a little bit more rules. It says, set a die at 6. So you place a 6-sided die out. Each time Cthulhu activates, reduce it by 1 point. The game is lost at 0. So now you have 6 activations to stop him. All survivors, not companions, may take 1 wound, each to add 1 point to the die, a max of 6. So you can keep increasing that by everyone taking 1 damage. It does say at any time all players may decide the wound cannot be avoided and is only afflicted to survivors with a dashboard, no companions. When survivors do this, the dice is increased by 1. So it's kind of interesting because, yeah, this is a threat where it's like the dog one. Like, this guy looks like a threat, but basically, yeah, he's gonna keep a timer on the game. Now he has 6 turns. Although if you have other Abominations, they can come in and activate that and set that differently. But yeah, that definitely could be a challenge. If you have some medics out, taking a point every turn might not be that big of a deal here or there. But that also means everyone needs to kind of stay grouped together. Alright, up next we have a really fun one. We have the Green Witch Crew, which is, of course, a nod to the village people. So we have 5 zombies on one platform. So there's the cowboy, the police officer, the biker, the construction worker, and then they changed it, and he's a military officer instead of village people being a Native American character. But that's definitely a fun little miniature, and his ability is pretty cool too. So this is right after the Green Witch Crew is eliminated, place 5 runners in its zone. So if you manage to take them out, this Abomination out, now you have to deal with the 5 runners instead. I don't think there are 5 runners that match these characters, but I think you'd have enough walkers to match each one. So that could even just be a neat thing, is if you defeat this, then they all separate into different walkers. You could consider them runners for the fact if you have like all your other generic runners, you have 5 special looking ones. But I know this for sure: a police officer and a construction worker and an army worker. I'm not sure if there's a cowboy or a biker in between regular classic Zombicide. You know, you need a cowboy probably in the Undead or Alive, but I'm still not sure if there's a biker one. I'd have to recheck everything. Then up next we have the Lanky Man, who's of course Slender Man-esque. The accuracy of all weapons used by a survivor is considered 1 point higher, so just makes it very much harder. And he's just a creepy guy in general. Now, I know Slender Man is the thing, you don't want to look at him or for too long. So they could have also had some interesting other effects, I think, with this one. Could have been like, if at the end of the turn, you have a line of sight on him, he does a point to, like, he moves to your zone. Like, that would have been kind of interesting. So, like, you could jump in, you could shoot at him or attack him, but then you needed to get out of his line of sight by the end of the turn, or defeat him. Otherwise, he would move right to your zone. So, shooting him from a distance, that would have been kind of an interesting idea, too. But I can see the other thing is kind of like range. You're trying to look at him, but not look at him, so your range isn't good. They could have also maybe had another more convoluted rule like that. Would have been like, you can only, he can only take damage if you target a zone with some other zombie in it. So like, you can't target him by himself. Like, you'd have to target another zombie. But again, that, how often would that maybe actually trigger where he's in a zone by himself? I'm not for sure. All right, then our last abomination is the Mummy. The Mummy is special because he spawns with a pimp card. So when you draw one of these, and there will be 2 of these actually in the game. Well, technically, there's one because they're equipment card. You have a regular set and then one for the campaign. So they have one for each set, so you don't, if you're playing with them, you can have the 2 decks separate. So this is spawn instead of like an R card. You might end up drawing Mummy Abomination. You just place him on the card, and place him on the board, and he's discarded. Otherwise, he's a regular weapon. That's kind of fun, that you might not have to just worry about regular zombies spawning, but you might have to worry about a mummy all of a sudden popping out of somewhere. So that's a really fun card. You can even be more interesting, or a fun way to play is take this card, instead of having it be a mummy, just have it be an abomination in general. You draw this card, randomly pick a abomination out, and now you draw that, and also imagine if you got like Cthulhu on top of you, or Bigfoot, you know, or something like that. That'd be kind of interesting as well. Alright, so that's what we have for the Reboot Box. Right there, Reboot Box for Zombicide 2nd Edition Part 1. That's all our different zombies. Brief overview of what's in the game. Come back for Part 2 and probably Part 3, where I go over all the survivors. I'll probably break that up into 2 videos just because it takes a while to go through each one, since I read through and talk about them all. And then Part 3 will probably be me doing a quick overview of all of the other survivor cards. Or sorry, Part 4. Estimating, but we'll see what happens. There'll always be links in the description for them. See you guys later. Bye.